Making the decision to get your financial house in order and abandoning your 9 to 5 job might be polarizing to some people in your life. Ultimately, some of them will stop talking to you without much of an explanation, while others will gradually slip away over time. Think awkward lunch dates, phone conversations that have a lot of dead air, and text messages that don't go anywhere. As sad as it may be, you're going to lose some of these people. But the reality of the situation is that it will be for the best in the long run. Today, we are going to talk about 5 reasons why people drop out of your life once you get serious about financial independence. The number one reason is the victor versus victim mentality. Once you realize that your financial situation is 100% under your control, life changes. You recognize that failures of the past can be corrected if you start learning how to right the wrongs now. For example, if you have student loans, instead of waiting for the government to make a decision on whether or not you have to pay back the debt, you're proactive and decide to do it yourself. Or if you feel like you should make more money, you sharpen up your skills and apply for new jobs instead of complaining that you don't make enough money as a sandwich artist. A victor is going to win because they know they can. A victim is going to suffer because they are focused on the problems in their life instead of solutions. Once you become a victor, you can start to be proactive and intentional about your financial decisions. Some people you care about are going to be mad about this. They'll say things like, "You think you're better than me," or "You've changed," or "You just don't understand what I'm going through." Sadly, you can't waste your energy trying to fix others. While you can help those who want to be helped, remember that we all have to get sick of being a victim before we can start pursuing victory. You can't make someone do that, so allow those who are against your newfound confidence and conviction to go their own way. Number 2, misery loves company. This is an old saying that is true. Miserable people don't seek out positive, upbeat, can-do folks who think that they can conquer the world. Miserable people want to find a crowd that believes that life is a struggle, and no matter what one does, the deck is stacked against them. They see themselves as unfairly marginalized, and failures are never their fault. For example, I know someone who received a full ride to college out of high school. This person decided to party and not attend school, and eventually they lost the scholarship. They never went back to finish up their degree, and today they are rather unhappy and working a dead-end job. This person can't accept that they lost the full ride scholarship because of their own actions, so they blame the crowd they started to socialize with at their part-time job as the reason why they lost the scholarship. Years later, this is still a focal point for this person, and they use it as an explanation as to why they are currently miserable. Over time, this person has drifted out of my life, not because I cut off contact, but because I'm not miserable. Any mistakes I've made in the past are over and done. I've learned lessons and realized that being miserable is a choice. Miserable people never want to hear that fact, so they turn away from positive, happy people. Unfortunately, it's best to just let them go. Number 3, they think your dreams are too big. Some people think that dreams should be very small and quote-unquote reasonable. Once you start telling people that you're planning on retiring in a few years, they laugh, and some will even get angry and tell you why that isn't realistic or something that can be done. The goal is for everyone to keep their dreams very small so that they fit in with the crowd. For example, when I quit my high school teaching job, I explained to my coworkers that I was quitting so I could write books. They laughed. It was a joke to them. But for me, I really intended to write and turn my hobby into a business. I understand why the other teachers laughed, because many teachers want to be writers, but they're so busy working a job that is constantly piling new duties onto their plate that they're too exhausted to write when they get off. So when they heard that I was quitting and planned to write, they laughed. That is, until I started publishing books. When that started to happen, lo and behold, I lost contact with all of those former coworkers. At this time, I only keep in contact with one person that I worked at my last job, which is crazy because I'm in contact with teachers that I worked with from previous jobs, I'm still in contact with them, but the last teaching job I had, I don't know. There's one person I'm in contact with, and I didn't lose contact with the other people until after I started publishing books. 4, they think you aren't living. If you're on a quest for financial independence, some trivial items might fall off your list of must-haves or must-dos. Some people are going to think you're crazy for not watching the latest series on HBO because you don't have cable, or for no longer keeping a weekly Sunday brunch date. The things you cut out of your life to save money might seem strange to others, but often there are underlying reasons why you choose to eliminate certain items. For example, Sunday brunch is a great idea if you enjoy the company and food. We stopped attending a standing Sunday brunch date because the food was just okay, and while some of the company was good, the gathering went from 3 to 4 people to 7 to 10 people. My husband and I are quiet, introverted people, and we don't ever crave crowds. So when we wanted to cut back on some items, brunch was one of them. Also, I love to cook and felt like I could make something tastier at home. But in the eyes of some, we were no longer, quote unquote, living life, or we were just being way too cheap. Ironically, the brunch was a place where shows that were broadcast on cable were often discussed, so we weren't always involved in the conversation. This is part of the reason why we decided it wasn't really something that we needed to continue to do. Neither one of us have had any type of cable or anything like that for over a decade, so we're just not into that. So naturally, saying, hey, we're not going to go to brunch anymore wasn't difficult, but to the outside world, it may seem like, oh, you're missing out on so much. But we're really not missing out on anything because now we get up and we have our coffee and sit on the couch and we have something delicious for breakfast. So while it may seem like we're not living because we've never seen Game of Thrones and we just don't watch much and we're not going out to Sunday brunch, actually, cutting out some of these things has been an improvement in our lives. We don't think that watching shows and going out for a mediocre Sunday brunch is living. So for those who have fallen out of our lives because we don't do that anymore, it's okay. Because to be honest, a lot of them, we weren't close to them anyway. They were just acquaintances. And number 5, you've changed. Ultimately, anyone who decides to go against the status quo will hear these words. And honestly, they will be true, so don't fight them. When someone says that I've changed, I respond with, you're right. If they stick around and ask why I've changed or start talking about how much better I was in the past, I explain to them that I was better for them, but not for myself. And at the end of the day, it's my life to live. I need to do what's best for me. I choose not to live the life the status quo says is appropriate. I want to choose when I retire how much I work and how much money I obtain. I no longer let the world dictate those things to me or think that I have to work until I'm 65 before I can consider retirement. This, my friends, will cause great anxiety for some and anger for others. How dare you make those types of decisions? The people that think you should be programmed to do what you've been told to do will fall out of your life because they don't understand your boldness. That's okay. Let them go. These are just a few of the reasons why people drift out of your life once you start to pursue a path of financial independence. The bottom line is that if you are serious about financial independence, you're going to upset a lot of people, and some, even ones that you love, are going to walk out of your life. But don't let that stop you. That's all for now. Remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.